tell me more about the 3 boundaries method. I'm very curious. I know this is
Yes.
something you talk about, and I would love to hear about it.
Yeah. So in my um in my career, obviously I was telling you it's not really aligned with my purpose in life, and I've
Hmm.
recently realized that. And I took a mastermind course on a coach's course for coaches. And I developed this methodology around boundaries because it has worked so effectively for me. I just want to help other people. And so the 3S boundary method is based on what you say yes to is so much. It's when you say yes to the things you value, it's so much easier to say no to something else. So the first yes is, what is it that you value the most in terms of what areas of your life do you need to set boundaries? And so when you, let's just say it's with your work. Okay, so what are the specific examples and what is happening? Okay, so what do you value the most? Like, or let's say, what I value the most is going home, being home at 6 o'clock and sitting down to eat dinner with my family every single night. That is a value. So we set boundaries and parameters around that. So you're saying yes to your values, because when you say yes to those, it's so much easier to say no to everything else, because when you're saying yes to the things you don't
Hmm.
align with.
The no's are in service to the yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Oh, I
yeah.
love that. Yeah. And so you're saying
TM,
yes.
you can't have it. No, I'm kidding.
I love you. I love you. Oh, that's great. So you're saying yes to your values, and then you're saying yes to communicating them. I have learned there are very effective ways to communicate your boundaries. And so what we talk about is, how have you communicated any boundaries or, you know, lines in the sand in the past? Has it worked for you? If not, let's figure out what will work for you. And I have tools to be able to help you, because you can lead with compassion and empathy when you're talking about what you will and won't accept. And so we talk about that in my coaching, and then the follow through. Because I had a client who, you know, she had a boundary with her husband where you can go out hunting. I think she's from like the Midwest. You can go out hunting on Wednesday nights with your buddies, but on Saturday mornings, you need to wake up with our toddler, and I get to sleep in till whatever time. So they agreed to that. And the first Saturday that rolled around, she ended up waking up before the toddler was awake, but she was just kind of like putzing around and just hanging out and relaxing in her bedroom. Her husband just automatically assumed that she would go get the toddler because she was already awake. And
Hmm.
she didn't. Sometimes there needs to be, okay, well, that didn't work, because you need clearer parameters. Like, it's not only when I'm not awake. It
Right,
has to be, even if I'm awake, you get the toddler on Saturday morning, says, I want to sleep in, or if I'm awake, I want to do something for myself.
right, right.
So the follow through is really important. So it's saying yes to those three things. And that's kind of what I base my coaching off of.
The follow through is so important because there are times when we doubt our boundaries, or we decide the boundaries are too strict, or um, we start to feel guilty about the boundaries we've set. So, can we explore a little bit more about how to follow through and reinforce our boundaries when needed?
Yeah, well, in my opinion, that all goes back to your values and your self worth.
Yeah, yeah.
Truly, I've had clients who have come to me. They don't think that they're worthy of an opinion, nonetheless setting a boundary.
Hmm.
And so I am not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I have done enough work on myself to know that everybody has inherent worth. And so when we dig deep into what your values are, you're worthy of them. And you need to remind yourself that you are. And if you have a really hard time with that, there are some clients who I suggest, like, I'll refer them to certain therapists, like a trauma-informed therapist or emotionally focused therapist, something along those lines, depending on what we talk about. But it's so important to do the work on yourself, not just boundary work, but self-worth, because it's easier to follow through on because you know you're worth it.
That's right.
And, you know, and so for me, the follow through all goes back to that. So why would you bend for somebody who's not respecting your boundary? What is that about? And we'll dig deep into that. And it always goes back to how you feel about yourself and what you feel like you deserve. And I'm going to tell anybody here listening, you deserve it and you are worthy of it.